I'm Richard Randall, and welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the host of the program. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, owner-broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, with the mortgage rates and prices high, how do home sellers prepare to present their homes, and what should they do when they're expecting a showing?
Well, Richard, I think there's a lot of things to this that are kind of confusing. So most buyers, I would say a majority of them, will not buy a home sight unseen, although I do still see it happening. Could you imagine buying a house just based off the internet pictures? Would you do it?
I would not do that. And especially, we talked about it before. You have people who just drive out there, they get out of the car, they take their cell phone, take a couple of pictures, get back in the car, and drive away. I wouldn't trust that. I mean, you're using professionals. You get a good feel for what that house looks like. And yet, people only give it a little bit of time on their phone or even
Yeah.
when they drive by.
And they can absolutely be deceiving, the
Yes.
pictures online, even if they're really nice pictures and you go drive by the property and go, oh, no, I don't think so. So anyway, um, it putting the home on the market, you want to make it look like the best home at the best price. That is really the way you get the most money. It's kind of counterintuitive to what people think. Oh, we'll ask for this high price, and if it doesn't work, we'll walk the price down. Well, that's not a good decision because it's kind of like this demand destruction. You actually get the most ready to buy buyers in the first 2 weeks of it being on the market. So you want all the stars aligned for it to be priced right, for the pictures to look good, for it to be ready to show. And the showing part is very interesting. So it used to be years ago when I started in the industry, we would take a buyer out to look at homes. And normally, the normal process would be that we sit down with the buyer, find out what they're looking for, make sure they are on their way if they don't already have a pre-qualification, but they are on the way to getting one. Or some buyers will just say, look, it's a non-issue. I've got plenty of money. Okay, fine. So a lot of times agents will show without the verification. And actually the state um, does not require that real estate agents verify that the buyer can buy at any point in the process. To get the buyers, so that used to be the process where you would actually meet with them, and then the agent actually had an influence about what homes the buyer would see. Well, that's not the case anymore. The buyers tell me all the time, I found the house. I just drugged my agent with me, right? It really does kind of diminish the value of a good real estate agent. I'm not making fun of agents this time. I'm just talking about how the way the internet has created the environment where the buyers are seeing the home and then they're deciding which homes they want their agent to go with them to see. Hopefully the agents go with them. So buyers are pretty well versed on pricing. They know what's available in their price range. If they're actively looking for a home right now, they're just gobbling up what's available. They're researching the heck out of it online. They're looking at what's around it. What are the prices around? They know way more than a lot of real estate agents about that one little micro market of what they're looking for. So it really falls upon the listing agent in order to create demand for that home. So how is that done? Well, first of all, it's done with pictures. Your first showing is online. That's why Zillow coined the phrase screen appeal is the new curb appeal. In other words, you cannot get them to come buy the house if they don't like what they see online. So it falls on the agent's shoulders and the sellers. I think the sellers should have something to do with this about what pictures they like and what pictures they don't like. And we try to make it an interactive thing that we're talking about this. So that's really, really important because you can't get the buyers to come and see it if they don't like everything that they've seen on the internet. So what do you do when it is time to get your house ready for showing? Well, First of all, a lot of agents do not want the home sellers to be there when they're showing. Now, it seems odd to me. It's their home, but it's sort of like the agents got used to how they normally do things, and now they think that's right and that's how it's supposed to be. But I've had buyers say that they don't feel comfortable with the seller there because they can't speak freely about their opinion of the house. Of course, they don't have to do it in the house, but they do. But there could be some distractions, like if the seller is walking the buyer through the house and basically doing what I call a Vanna White. Sometimes they point out too many flaws. Sometimes they don't let the buyer take it in at their pace. That was something I picked up early in my career, that when you're showing a home, um, you want the buyer to drive it, because the buyer might be more interested in the kitchen than they're interested in the garage, or vice versa. I remember the first time I actually learned this in practice, I thought, okay, I'm going to try it. I'm not going to do the Vanna White. I'm going to open the door and see where the buyer goes. Now, this particular buyer worked at a golf course, fixing landscaping. And this big backyard was overgrown. It was a mess. It had all kinds of stuff growing everywhere. So he walked straight through the house, didn't even look at the house, went out the back door, looked at the big overgrown backyard, and he goes, I love it. I'll take it. Never looked at the house. So for him, that was his room. It was the backyard and the landscaping. And it varies with different buyers. So you got to find out what's important to them. And then sometimes the buyers think that the agents need the education of looking at homes. I don't. I've seen, I don't know how many homes. I do like looking at homes. I actually remember homes more than addresses, what they look like and that kind of thing. But you have to be careful about some things that can turn buyers off, like certain pets in a cage, lizards, snakes. I actually have one guy, Richard, here in Colorado that had a fish tank in his basement full of pet scorpions. Now, I'm sorry, but that just grosses me out even today thinking about it. What do you think of that?
I think I guarantee there are going to be some people who come through and say, you know what, I kind of like this house, but when this guy moves and we move in, are there going to be scorpions that escaped and they're crawling around in the basement or the air shafts or something?
That's exactly what I was thinking. Thank God they moved out before we put it on the market. But anyway, so you want to remove the kids. Actually, you're not allowed to go into a house when there's a minor present without an adult. That's against the law. So hopefully that's not happening. Too many cars, a big pile of remotes on the counter, prescription meds, please lock those away. I know most people are generally honest, but not everybody is. You don't want to open the door for that kind of thing. Mouse traps will make people think you have a pest problem. Pet bowls are just not pretty. I'm sorry. And of course, valuables, like jewelry, especially little pieces of jewelry laying around, all those kind of things. You just don't want to open the door for somebody to take little stuff. Secure that somewhere where people can't get it. And then you don't even have to think about it if you do want to leave and let somebody show your home. So typically, I see this happen all the time. The agents show up late. They show up early. They no show. They leave lights on. They leave doors unlocked. They leave the exact combo in the combo box. You name it, they do it. Okay. They still continue to do it. I don't know why. They have trouble with that basic attention to detail. But at the end of the day, just be cognizant that you might have to go by and kind of recheck the property afterwards. I love it when sellers have cameras inside and outside their home. That makes me very happy. And you have to assume in this day and age, don't you think, Richard, that pretty much anywhere you're going to go, you're going to be on camera, right?
I think so. And especially as we've talked about before, you're walking around the house, you're outside the house, whatever. Somebody's liable to have a Ring camera and be looking at what you talked about.
That's right. And I have gotten feedback from sellers where they're saying, why is the agent standing there telling them that the house won't be approved for that financing or it's not worth that much? What, aren't they supposed to be selling? Why are they doing that? And it's how some agents justify their value, is they basically try to sound like they know what they're talking about and talk smack about the house, when many times they have no idea really what they're talking about. And here's the thing. The state does not require that you have to verify the buyer can buy. Also doesn't require that you have to verify that the buyer, that you know what the buyer's asking for. Many times the agents are using the showing opportunity in order to meet a maybe buyer and hope they like it. And if they don't like that, they're going to take them to some other house. So a lot of times there's no vetting, no qualification, no anything. And they're meeting them at the door. Just look at Zillow. If you look at a house on Zillow, you'll see the blue button that says the next tour is in 15 minutes. Click right here to get the next tour. The consumer wants the next tour. And if the agent doesn't give them the next tour, they'll find some other agent to do it. That's the way Zillow is designed. That's how they became a billion-dollar company, by selling buyer leads to real estate agents. And, it's unfortunate that it's set up that way, but it is. So you want to make sure that when somebody's coming to look at your house, that don't have real high expectations. The time to get excited is when you get an offer. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about how do you get your home ready to show. And the next up, we're going to talk about the rest of the things that you should consider when you're getting your house ready to show. And by the way, I have thousands of buyers just on my little website, but I'm no comparison to Zillow that has 70% of the buyer's eyes, that has 250 million monthly visitors on their website. And because we upgrade our listings on Zillow, typically we can find over 1,000 that are a high match for your home, and we market directly to them. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a chance. Give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
So, Barb, what are some other things that home sellers ought to be doing before they allow their home to actually be shown to people?
Well, first impressions absolutely matter, and buyers don't have the money typically to come in and remodel a home unless the home is priced way below market, and then they'll get a renovation loan to do it, and they're doing it because of affordability. They can actually afford the home better if they get a lower priced home. So you want to make sure flooring in particular, replace any soiled carpets. Credits will not work because the lenders won't let you do it, and the buyers won't make an offer. Neutralize any dramatic colors. Please paint the Bronco orange wall in the living room. It's okay to have one colorful bedroom. You don't have to worry too much about that. Remove heavy furniture. Remove excess furniture. Put away all the bathroom toiletries, plungers, soaps, rugs. Everything has to be not visible during showings. Don't let cars be parked in front. And rely on the expertise of your agents. Usually they know how to get this done because they've been out showing homes. Please don't use air fresheners. Oh my God, there's people that are allergic to it. The buyer automatically assumes that when they walk in the door and they get that overwhelming smell of those air fresheners, that you're trying to cover up something stinky. That's what they think. Fix broken stuff. Replace older smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors. And if you have a lot of personal photos, I do recommend, it's okay to have some, but you don't want a whole family wall, because it's overwhelming for the buyers. They are there to visualize themselves living there. So you have to take some of your personal stuff out. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900. We do this all the time. Or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. She's the host of the program, and if you are thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll be discussing what to do if you bought your home at the top of the market, plus have little to no equity and need to sell now, plus Barb's hot new listings. Don't miss any of that.